But it's time now for the big question, where you get to quiz top celebrities, public figures, decision makers and sports people via GB Views. And by the age of just 19, my guest tonight had managed to conquer the whole of Europe. After winning the Eurovision Song Contest with Bucks Fizz in 1981, how was it that long ago? Jay Aston went on to sell over 50 million records alongside her bandmates. But Jay has experienced both highs and lows, going from topping the charts in the 80s to a small Croydon bedsit in the early 90s after being hit hard by an acrimonious split with the group. She also underwent a life-saving operation after being diagnosed with mouth cancer just 3 years ago, and she fought a grueling battle with COVID at the start of this year. So Jay is nothing if not resilient. Now she's challenging that grit and determination that saw her through hard times into helping the industries worst hit by COVID, documenting their struggles in her new YouTube series Survivors, which launches tomorrow. And Jay Aston joins me now. Jay, I'm so glad you're doing this series because not enough people are talking about the folk who have had to go to such great lengths to just survive this pandemic.
Absolutely.
Or the lockdown, maybe you might say. It's not just the pandemic, is it? It's the devastating lockdown.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so many performers, artists, musicians, crew, managers, even the ice cream lady, literally, you know.
Of course.
It's so far-reaching, and our industry has just been shattered, probably more than, well, certainly than most industries. You know,
because
theatres are going to be the last.
Non-essential.
Exactly, and it's been a real wake-up call for all of us because we realise how easily, you know, our whole industry, our income, our livelihood can just disappear.
Well, I think we've got a little bit of the series, so let's have a look at it. It's coming. Oh, we'll get it. We don't want to watch that tantrum again. Please, God, no more nervous. Okay, we'll come to it in a moment, Jay. But this is a really innovative thing. You're doing it on YouTube, and you've spoken to lots of different people who have survived the pandemic.
Yeah, lots of people in the first show is the music industry. So I've spoken to everything from, you know, a student to a very famous music manager, a busker, a lady who's just won The Voice. A real mixture of artists at different levels in their career, and you know, they've all had a tough time. They've all had to essentially learn how to perform online and do sort of shows online. And if you're not very techy, like I'm not, you know, it's been tough.
It's been awful. I hate doing all of the stuff on Zoom. We need to get in person. I think we've got a look now at Survivors finally.
Welcome to Survivors. This show hopes to uncover the truth about the music industry and its many challenges over the decades, from 45s to downloading. Recent events have shaken so many industries to the core, and while the COVID pandemic is hopefully behind us now, I want to share some inspiring lockdown stories. My name is Jay Aston, and along with co-presenter Hayley Palmer, we've been talking to some people in different areas of the business to see how they got through it.
Fascinating, Jay. I really am looking forward to watching it, actually.
Thanks.
But it was a really tough lockdown for you, though.
It was, yeah.
Because, of course, given your cancer struggle, which was just so horrific, and we'll talk about it in a moment, but it meant that you were someone who had to shield because there was a serious risk of you contracting COVID-19.
Yeah.
You were a cancer, you'd just come through cancer.
Yeah.
So you literally were at home for most of the year.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, literally lockdown, super lockdown.
And how did that impact your mental health?
At times it was tough. I've just tried to keep positive and try to keep busy. And actually, it's when I had those kind of moments that I realised how many of my friends and other people in the business were affected, which is why I thought, I need to focus on something here or I'm going to go downhill. Which is why I ended up putting the documentaries together. But it was tough. We'd just started a tour, which was ironically called Up Close and Personal.
Oh God! And that's the last thing you could do.
We'd done 3 shows, and so we had to sort of, you know, that was on hold, and it's only starting to come back.
But that tour must have meant so much to you as well, because when you were going through this horrific mouth cancer struggle, and it was really debilitating on so many levels. I presume you were questioning whether you would ever be able to sing again. I mean, I know at one point you were questioning whether you would be able to survive it.
Yeah.
And you even wrote a will. You were so worried about how bad it was getting, but you did survive. But then you had to reconstruct a lot of the physical areas actually inside your mouth.
Yeah, well, basically I had a thing called lichen planus on my tongue, and there was only a 2% chance that would turn to cancer. So I never really thought that would happen. And fortunately, doctors were keeping an eye on it. Every sort of 6 months they'd have a look at it, but it was starting to change. And so I did a biopsy and it came back pre-cancer, but then it went to cancer very quickly, so they had to do a major op. And they took a piece of my thigh away to reconstruct the bottom of my tongue. And the bottom of my tongue is sewn to the bottom of my mouth, so I've only really got one mobile side. So I've had to totally learn how to not just speak, but obviously to sing. And I've been a singer professionally since I was 14.
Yeah.
So it was a shock.
But you can.
Yes, I can. I can. I mean, I don't sound exactly the same. And to begin with, I'm very lucky because I'm in a band, a vocal harmony band. And so when I was still trying to get back, I've got two other people beside me, so which did help. And it came back really relatively quickly. And I've been very lucky. It could have gone either way, but great NHS helped me, great surgeons, loads of support. And I've just... I've got to get back. I have to make a living. So it's just, that was it. And then, of course, as we had the first lockdown, then I got COVID. My daughter got it first, then my husband got it, and then I got it. And it was tough.
Because obviously the doctors were very concerned, given that for people who are battling cancer, it can be quite serious.
Well, no, I mean, I had just recovered.
You were in remission by that point.
Yeah, and then I've got COVID, and there was a few days where I was extremely worried. I was like, oh my goodness, am I going to get through this? But I did. I'm a tough old broad, really.
Well, you've gone through a hell of a lot.
I gotta be.
You've gone through a hell of a lot. I've obviously got to get your political take on where things are at the moment as well, because you've had a fascinating political development, I guess, given you stood for the Brexit Party, and I think you're a bit like me. You were supportive of Brexit, but it was actually the attempts by the establishment to overturn the vote that really energised you and actually made you decide to stand as a candidate.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't believe I actually did, to be honest, because it was so out of character. Yeah. But I was so...
But they were extraordinary times.
Yeah, absolutely. It just seemed like we were constantly being brainwashed with we've made a mistake. We didn't know what we were voting for.
Even though it was the biggest Democratic vote of all time.
Exactly. You can't lose democracy. Otherwise, we're down the slippery slope. And in my small way, I just wanted to help. And I got a lot of hate for it. But I think we're on the right path.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, though, because the entertainment industry is not forgiving of folk who go against the woke narrative. And of course, it's an industry where if you're a Brexiteer, it's very risky to speak up publicly. I mean, I know there's a lot of Brexiteers within the entertainment industry who just don't talk about it. But you made that bold decision to come out, if you like.
Yeah.
Did you lose friends? Did you lose jobs as a result of that?
I don't think I lost jobs, but I did lose friends. And I think some people will never forgive me for it, but I just felt like compelled. I just felt I couldn't not stand up and say, I just think this is wrong. And in my small way, if I helped, then great.
Yeah, well, I think it was important for everyone to stand up against the potential overturning of the biggest Democratic vote of all time. I still can't believe that we were there. But look, we've got loads of questions coming in from our brilliant viewers, so I want to get to them. First up, Dustin on Twitter. I saw this is a good one. Are you going to jump on ABBA's coattails and do a new album with the rest of the Fizz? And wasn't that a great moment?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
do you know what? When I played that, I got really emotional.
So did I.
I think it's so fabulous that they've come back. It's great. It's a great song.
I think one of the things for me about it is that actually we've lost a lot of music greats over the past decade, and it came off the back of Charlie Watts and the Rolling Stones, and you're sort of having to say goodbye to a lot of these music legends. And so to see the recreation of ABBA, something that we never expected to happen. And look, here you guys are, what a moment. So are you going to do it? New music from Bucks Fizz?
No, absolutely. We've actually been in the studio with Mike Stock, and
amazing.
It's our fourth
legend.
album. The legend that is a wonderful bloke, wonderful chap.
Mike Stock.
So talented, knows what he wants, just great to work with. And so that album they're still working on it, but it'll be coming out in the next few months.
Oh, brilliant. So that's a very clear answer. Yes,
there will be.
Bucks Fizz are coming back. I love it. James, via the GB News Twitter account, asks, what do you think the UK and the BBC need to do to reverse our Eurovision fortunes? We have the best pop music in the world, yet we keep bottoming out. And I wonder, Jay, if you think part of that is to do with our previous conversation, it's to do with Brexit, and we're just never ever going to be high up in the votes again because Europe won't forgive us.
I disagree.
Oh, good.
I disagree.
Good.
There's only one winner every year. Everyone goes away dejected. Everyone's going to come at last.
Do you
at
think
some
we could
point.
still win?
I think it's possible. I think it's very hard. It's a very tough competition to win these days. I mean, when we won it, there was half the countries. So there's a lot of different flavours and tastes. And what you see is the votes from the judges vote one way, and then when the public vote comes in, it changes massively. So you can't really judge that. But I do think we can certainly do better, and I do think it's been we haven't been putting the right songs in. Absolutely,
no, they've been awful.
They've been awful, and they've been awful for about 10 or 15 years.
No,
I mean, you know, let's face it, they're not good enough.
No.
I don't think we've.
We get the right song, maybe we could do it. I like that positive attitude. And sticking with the Eurovision theme, Sean via the GB News Twitter account asks, do you think the Eurovision rule requiring artists to sing in their own language should return? I guess the argument being is that it probably gave us a bit of an advantage.
Well, yes, somewhat. I think they can sing in their own language now anyway. I think they have that choice.
Yeah, so exactly, but he's saying actually
that,
should it go back to where you have to sing in your own language?
No, I don't think so. I don't agree with that. I think having the option as it is the best way,
Hugh, via GB News on Twitter, asks, this is an interesting one, do you still do weight training? I once did an interview and photos of you for Jackie magazine, doing precisely that.
Oh.
You were rather good at it. You were, for a period, you were one of the fitness pin-ups of Britain, weren't you?
Well, I think I can thank my granddad for that, and my dad. My granddad was a world champion weightlifter and a bodybuilder type, you know, a strong man of the old days. And so I'm lucky I can go in the gym and build muscle very quickly. It's something that I was brought up with. My dad.
And do you still do it now?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And Mark, also via GB News on Twitter, asks, after 40 years, have you finished making your mind up?
Oh, no, never.
Never. No, you can't. Well, look, great news. Confirmation, Bucks Fizz are coming back, and you'll be on the road as well performing together.
Yes, absolutely. The tour is slowly coming back as it was. Dates are in the book. It's all starting to look a lot healthier.
Amazing. And of course, Survivors, the YouTube series, is out on the 12th of September.
It is. Yeah, they're just under an hour shows, different industries. There'll be 6 shows.
Bucks Fizz legend Jay Aston, thank you so much for being here for tonight's big question. Now coming up after